Greetings, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe cooking channel. Today we're going to toss a couple of racks of beef back ribs on the Big Joe. So let's get started. Okay, first thing I've done is I've taken these racks of ribs and rinsed them off really well, and I'm going to take a paper towel and pat them dry. And then we're going to shake our rub all over. We want to get a good even coat of rub on all the meat. And then we're just going to pat that in. And then we're going to flip this rack and do the other side. After you get that on there, you just come back across and pat it in. And get a good even coat. And I'm going to prepare our second rack the same way. And after we get our second rack prepared, I'm going to let these sit with the rub on them while we go get the grill ready. Okay, I've dug a well here in the middle of my charcoal in the firebox on the Big Joe, and I'm going to drop in one of the Kamado Joe fire starters, and I'm going to light it up with my torch. I've got the bottom vent fully open, and I'm going to let this burn for about 10 minutes with the lid open. Okay, after my fire gets going, I'm going to set the flexible cooking rack in with the heat deflector. We're going to be cooking indirect today, and then I'm going to set both of my grill racks in place, and we're going to let this grill warm up to about 250 degrees. In order to achieve 250 degrees or so on the Big Joe, I'm going to have my bottom vent open about an inch and a half, and I'm going to close the slider on the top vent and open the daisy wheel fully until I start to get close to 250 degrees. We're going to leave the bottom vent where it is, and we'll make all of our temperature adjustments right here to get to 250. Okay, our Big Joe is just about up to temp. And I also went back and tossed on about 2 chunks of the Kamado Joe pecan chunks to get a little bit of smoke going in here. So we're going to lay these ribs right up here in the middle of the grill. These are some actually pretty decent looking racks of beef ribs. I'm not often able to find any that are that big. So we're going to cook these for a couple hours and watch for the bark to start forming, and then we'll come back and have a look at what we're going to do next. Okay, these beef ribs have been going at 250 for about 2 hours and 10 minutes so far, and my bark is starting to form. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz these guys with just a little bit of water, and I'm going to close the lid back up and come back and do that again in about 30 minutes until my bark gets completely formed. Okay, about 30 minutes later, we're about 2 hours and 40 minutes into this cook now. I'm gonna spritz these guys again. This bark's forming up nicely. I'm gonna hit them with a little spritz of water, and we're gonna let these cook for about another 30 minutes or so, and then we're gonna come back to the next step. These things are looking fantastic. Okay, we're about 3 hours and 10 minutes or so in. I've taken my first rack of ribs off, and what I'm going to do now is give these guys a little douse of this Stubbs beef marinade. I'm going to pour a little bit of that on here and kind of spread it out. Not a whole lot. We're going to get a little coat of that on all this meat here, and then we're going to wrap this meat in a double layer of aluminum foil, and then we're going to put it back on the grill. I'm going to do this with both racks. We're going to put it back on the grill and let it cook for another hour or so before we come back to have a look. And as I put these back on the grill, I'm going to put these meat side down. So we're going to let these go for, like I said, about another hour. And that should come close to wrapping this cook up. We'll be back to have a look. Okay, these ribs have been going for about an hour here in the foil. I'm gonna open one up here and I'm going to use a toothpick and just probe this and make sure they're nice and tender. These things are super tender. These guys are ready. I'm going to take them off and let them rest in the foil for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we'll have a look. Okay folks, here they are. Man, these things look and smell delicious. I'm going to cut one off here and we'll have a look. Man, that thing's got a nice little smoke ring going on there. They smell delicious. And of course, we're going to have a taste. Wow, that is outstanding. Tastes like ribeye on a stick. So we're going to wrap up. Join us on Facebook if you can. Facebook.com/Kamado Joe. And leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Until next time, this is John Setzler with the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.